everyone. So it's been a week and a couple days since I went to Costco last, and there's just a few things we need. And so I got up. We had an earthquake this morning. It's been crazy. A 5.7. Like, we bolted out of bed. Like, it was insane. And now it's pouring rain, and we're having to wait to get into Costco. Costco doesn't open for another half hour, so we're sitting here in the rain waiting. And you guys, I will put footage of the line. I'm over by the tire center. It wraps all the way to the other side, to the end by the gas station, and then back to the front door. So it's pretty insane. I've heard that they're only allowing, there's quantity limits on everything. So I haven't been since really they've shut things down and have not allowed people to take lots of things. And so this will be interesting to go in there. I just figured, I mean, we had an earthquake this morning and some other things. We've got enough food. We're kind of running low on milk and some of the fresh things. So I'm going to see if I can grab some of those today, and we'll go in from there. So keep watching. And if you watch to the end, I will give you a free download of a preparedness thing. I've created a download on different ways to entertain your kids and just to get through these next couple weeks. Also, if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button, click the bell so you can be notified every single time I upload a brand new video. All right, so let me take you inside of Costco. Before we go in, though, I want to kind of show you what was happening on the outside. This was about 40 minutes before Costco opened. And as you can see, the line started at the tire center, like I said at the beginning, and it goes all the way to where the gas is. And this is the Lehigh Costco in Utah. And so it's actually one of the busiest Costcos in the world. It's pretty off the hook all the time, but you can see it wraps all the way down and then it comes back up against the wall. Now, before all you naysayers get on and say people shouldn't be panicking and things like this, I did not feel like this was panic today. I felt like it was organized and people just needed to get their basic stuff. While we were standing in line, it started hailing. So we've had an earthquake, hail, and this coronavirus epidemic going on, or pandemic going on all at once. So it was pretty wild just to be in the mix of it. And I was trying to be very careful with just, social distancing myself. When I grabbed a cart, it had this in it, some used gloves from the last shopper. And once they opened up the doors, hopefully you'll be able to see in there, it was pretty well organized and I didn't feel like things got super crazy. So once they opened the doors from where I was, it took about 10 minutes to get in. Basically, they were counting how many people they were letting in due to social distancing. And depending on how many people came out was how many people could go in next. And so we just all waited in line and chatted with one another and waited for our turn. So it was very organized. It didn't feel like super stressful. Now, I have been doing these videos for 3 weeks. You can go back and watch my original one. I will put it in the links in this video, and I will also give you the second one, which I did last week. And so throughout this video, I'm going to share with you some of the differences that I noticed from last week till this week. And one of those differences was, first of all, they were limiting how many people were going in. Another one was they had moved the toilet paper to the front of the store. And so you'll see here, as people were walking in, they were loading carts with toilet paper. It was a limit of 1. Now, last week when I came, there were limits to the water bottles. It was like 5 or something like that. But they didn't have toilet paper. They didn't have paper towels, things like that. Today, there were tons of things limited to 1, not just toilet paper. So I think that it's interesting that it kind of started with toilet paper and it's morphed into everything else in the system. Now, we did have an earthquake this morning. It was a 5.7. And so you're going to see here that we had a lot of people buying generators right there. Can you see that? They came in and they were buying generators just as extra precaution, I think. There was tons of produce. Potatoes have been hard to come by the last, I don't know, about a week. And so that was something that was going really fast today. You can see here there's 2 of these boxes that were full of potatoes. One was almost completely gone. The other one was full. And this was before this, it was like 9:55, maybe 10 o'clock. Now, I also went through the refrigerated section and a lot of the things were there. It didn't seem like they were missing anything. Like throughout the rest of the store, you'll see that they were filling in spots that certain things should have been there with other items that didn't necessarily go there. But there was lots of meat available. There was lots of ground beef. There was lots of pork. The one thing that I did notice that is missing was chicken. And in some of my previous videos, I showed you the freezer section and how the chicken was completely gone. So I'm going to show you that freezer section again today. This is going into the dairy section. Milk has been hard to come by, and so they were fully stocked. This was about 10:05. And they had all their paper goods. There's toilet paper in the back where it normally was. They didn't have a ton, and I imagine probably by 11 they were totally sold out. I decided to go down this cleaning aisle and actually this is the throwaway kitchen stuff like plates and cups and tinfoil, things like that, just so you could see that it's fully stocked. But when I turned the corner, last week, this whole aisle was completely empty. This week at 10 o'clock in the morning, they did have some water. And like you can see, there is some toilet paper left. So all of the like cooking prep stuff, there was tons of. When you go down the cleaning aisle, though, there was no Lysol. There was no like spray cleaner. There was lots of laundry soap. And toilet bowl cleaner was everywhere. I don't know if they've just got like an extra supply of that or whatnot, but there's a ton at the end caps. It seems like they were kind of using that as a filler right now. And so that was interesting. Now, in my first video, I talked about the shortage of Diet Coke. Apparently, they have fixed that shortage because Diet Coke was back today, along with all of the drinks were fully stocked, except for there was a limit of 2 on any of the Gatorades. And after just I've been in the store maybe 15 minutes at this point. The zero Gatorade was fine. The other Gatorade was getting lower, so they were not fully stocked. Now, this is the first section of the freezer. This is where like the ice creams and the frozen fruits are and things like that. And it seemed like there was tons of ice cream, but they did not have frozen berries, very many frozen berries. Usually there's way more. And you'll see that baby wipes were limited to 1 per customer. So, which last time they did not have a limit on this. This time they did. They did have baby formula, but here we are in the frozen chicken section, and they had no frozen chicken whatsoever. It was only chicken bites, like a breaded chicken, chicken nuggets, things like that. And they'd filled everything with pizza instead. And so the run on chicken has caused a shortage there, at least in our area. There was not chicken available. They did have a lot of the anything prepackaged, there was a lot of, except for taquitos, which I talk about in my very first video. So it was interesting going through from the week 1 to week 2 to week 3 to see some of those things that were shortage on week 1 are almost completely gone or gone 100% now. And so it kind of makes me wonder like what it will look like in a week or 2 from now. They had lots of pizzas. They had, like I said, lots of prepackaged things that are already made up. Their lunch meats were pretty well stocked, and their pre-cooked bacon, they had a lot of that, and tons of yogurt. Now, this is interesting. We're going to turn the corner here and just notice this is where the cheese usually is, and it's got all the bacon. There's only one thing of shredded cheese there, and that was Tillamook, which I'm going to go back and show you. Butter was cottage cheese, butter, sour cream. It was all fully stocked. Which there was a shortage of, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago when I came. Now, when I say fully stocked, there's that much at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. in the morning, so who knows what's going to come. Eggs were in stock. Last time I went, last week, they did not have the 5 dozen egg packs. But let's just walk back to the cheese section so I can show you. We've got the Baby Bell cheeses, and then we've got this shredded Tillamook, and that's it. There's nothing else. There's no more shredded cheese to be had. And so that was interesting to see, and I'm curious to see what it's going to be like in a week or two. I feel like, of course, people are so opinionated about, people are panicking and people are not. I actually just feel like people are trying to be prepared. Like what's, be prepared with your families. So this is another interesting thing. There's the peanut butter is almost completely gone, and obviously they only had a little bit, and that was almond butter underneath it. So last week's video showed that they had just a little bit. When you're walking along these aisles, you'll notice like there's hardly any oil. They've really filled it in with like sweeteners like syrups and just things like that, cookies, lots of pre-packaged things. Now down this aisle here, we've got all of our Mexican food. There was no refried beans to be had anywhere. Tons of mayo. You guys, seriously, they're using mayo to like push out to everybody right now. I did not find beans. They had lots of vinegar out, which was interesting. But like I said, they're trying to fill in these spots. Lots of canned soup in the morning, so that was good. Only a few of the Costco brand of the chicken broth. But you can see a lot of people are buying up the Krusteaz pancake mix. The other day when I came, that was completely gone. Last week when I came, it was gone. The yeast is going pretty quickly. And you can see there is extra virgin olive oil and soybean oil. I think that's what that is. And avocado oil, and that's it. A month ago had flour, had sugar. Now the only sweetener they have is this, the stevia stuff or whatever the pre-made stuff is. And pickles were almost completely gone. It's interesting walking through the store. They pulled out all this summer sausage. Like, that's random. It was not there last week. We did have a stock of chicken, shredded chicken, canned chicken, which was good because the week before we did not have that. And so that was good to see that they were getting that in. Down this aisle, once again, it's more of the pre-packaged things. We've got some Spam, we've got some tuna, but the tomatoes, there was only tomato sauce. There was no actual like canned tomatoes. So that was interesting to see that. There was some spaghetti sauce left, but only the higher end kind. There was no Prego. Is that what it's called? Or the other kind that they carry? I usually don't buy the Prego stuff. I think that's what it's called. That's weird. It sounds like it's pregnant or something. This was interesting. So the last 2 weeks, every time I come down this aisle, bread has been like few and far between. The interesting thing about this is all whole wheat bread. There was no white bread. Typically, Granny Sycamore's bread is like seriously the best bread. If you guys if you want some good bread, get that bread. But it was the whole wheat one is not as good as the white bread, and so that was gone. And when I went to the back, I should have pointed this out, but usually there's a huge stock of bread, and there was not. They usually keep their bread back there and just kind of wheel it down and swap it out. So they didn't have any of the Costco cheap hamburger or hot dog. They did have hamburger buns. So there's kind of a shortage in that. Let's go to the medicine section. Now, last week when I came, there were no feminine hygiene products to be had. And it's interesting. They're filling the shelves with lots of things, but there's no vitamin C, there's no vitamin E, they're missing some of the key vitamins, some of the gummies, things like that. So they did have a small stock of feminine
hygiene products, which was awesome. I had actually stocked up a couple of months ago before any of this happened, so we were good. There was only a little bit of Dove soap left. I've not seen what is it, the Zest soap that usually is at Costco for like weeks, even on my first week. Now, Advil, anything that reduces a fever was limit 1. And so you've got your liquid gels, you have your ibuprofen, you have Aleve, all of those things were limited in the amount that you could buy. So that was another interesting limit item. They did not have those limits on last week. And then when you go down the protein and like granola bar section, things like that, there's tons, like I said, of prepackaged items. The chocolate protein shakes are getting very low. Like they're really pushing the apple oat one and the peach one. Here's another stack of toilet paper. But you can see they've got a lot of electrolyte drinks, and they do have protein powder and keto powder and stuff like that. But like this Premier protein powder or whatever that one is that just passed, that one, usually there's a ton more. It didn't look like it was as stocked as normally. And as you can see, it's like peach and vanilla. And this is all the chocolate they have. Usually they have way more chocolate. So that was very interesting. Now, once I got up to the front to pay, I felt like Costco's done a really great job of just keeping everything staffed. I'm really appreciative to all the employees who are willing to come out and work during all of this. Everything was running smoothly and quickly. And you'll see that once we get through the line, we have an indoor cafeteria or eating area, Costco eating area, and they have stopped selling anything but pizza and hot dogs, and they pulled out all of the tables. So usually this is full of like 100 tables. They pulled those all out because of social distancing, and they filled it in with cars because they don't want people lingering in the store. They're really trying to like help us to get our essentials, move forward, and be done. Now, if you've made it to this point, thank you for watching all the way to here. You'll see it took me about 35 minutes to get through the store. There is still a line outside, and I'm going to take you through that. It goes all the way to the gas station. People are still waiting. I actually went and got gas, came back like an hour later. There was still a line right to about where this one ends. And so I have a feeling this is going to be like a permanent thing. It's like waiting in line to go to Disneyland. Now, I know everybody has these opinions about panicking and blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is that we still have to go and shop and do things that help our families survive, even those of us who have prepped. And so let's be kind and let's be loving, and also let's be socially responsible. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch my previous 2 videos, you can click there on the right, and you can also, I would love it if you would subscribe on the left. Thank you.